the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, the Executive Director, UNEB, the Chairperson, UNEB, and then the Executive Director, the senior officials of the Ministry of Education and Sports, senior officials of UNEB, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, you're all very welcome to this occasion. I would like to take this opportunity quickly before the function starts to recognize the members who are present here. I would like to recognize the members from UNEB who are present. Mr. Nangosia Mike Masike, the Director of Exams, you're very welcome. Mr. Moses Okello, Director, Finance and Planning, you are very welcome. Florence Buyinza, you're very welcome. Manager of Exams and Development, Mr. Jonas Sande, you are welcome. The Principal Examinations Officer. I would also like to welcome the Examination Officer from the Special Needs Department, Ms. Nagudi Esther, who is also doing interpretation for the sign language, the people who understand the language she's using. You're very, very welcome. Then we also have Madame Jennifer Kalule. You're welcome, the Principal Public Relations Officer. We also have Dr. Peter Wakabi, the Director for ICT in UNEB, in charge of reprographics. Then we have the officials from Ministry of Education. We have the Director for Basic Education, Mr. Mlindo, you're welcome. We have Dr. Jen Egao, the Director for Higher Education. You are very, very welcome. We have Mr. Edward Sebuchu, Commissioner, Private Schools and Institutions. You are very welcome. We have Madame Frances Atima, the Director for the Directorate of Education Standards. Then we have Doreen Ankunda, the Commissioner for Basic Education Standards. You are welcome. Then we also have Judith Akurut from DES as well, Directorate of Education Standards, the Assistant Commissioner. You are all very, very welcome to this function. I'll be recognizing other members as they come in. And at this time, I would like to take the opportunity to invite the chairperson of the Uganda National Examinations Board, Professor Mary Okwakol, to come and give her opening remarks. Thank you.
The Minister of State for Higher Education, representing the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, Executive Director, UNEB, senior officials of the Ministry of Education and Sports, senior officials of UNEB, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister, the Uganda National Examinations Board presents to you the results of the 2022 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education, UAC, for release. In accordance with Section 41B and Section 51 of the UNEB Act Number 1 of 2021. This examination was successfully conducted between the 21st of November and the 9th of December 2022. This is the last of the 3 examinations the board conducts and marks UNEB's full accountability to you, Honorable Minister, and the nation for the body's functions and the resources allocated to it. As was the case with the other 2 examinations, the threats of the Ebola outbreak at the examination centers posed challenges to the board. By God's grace, the board came out of this with no reported fatalities. The board noted at the end of the registration that there would be a decrease in candidature yet again. This time, though, the decrease is much less than it was during the 2020 examination. The board resolved that the causes of these decreases be investigated. The board was pleased to receive an offer from Makerere University to lead these investigations with the participation of UNEB. I'm informed that the study is complete in respect to girls, but the report is yet to be presented or shared with UNEB. We note, however, that the number of candidates who did not report to take the examination increased from 1% to 1.3%. As previously reported, absenteeism had been reducing steadily over the last 4 years, that is from 2017 to 2020. The board notes that entries for sciences at UACE continue to be lower than for humanities. It is gratifying, though, that the numbers have gone up apart from one subject, physics. Honourable Minister, the performance of the candidates has improved, especially at the upper level of candidates obtaining 3 principal passes. At the other levels, the pass rates are comparable. As was the case in the 2020 examination, female candidates have proportionally, that is in terms of percentages, performed better than the males at all levels and have shown a lower failure rate. Even at individual subject levels, they have shown better performance. We continue to see fewer girls offering science combinations, with candidature being as low as 6.1% for mathematics and 15.9% for biology. Honourable Minister, you had directed that the Ministry of Education and Sports should lead in a study along with UNEB to investigate the reasons for this. The investigation has not yet been done due to funding constraints. The observed gender gaps result in low numbers of women pursuing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers. There is therefore urgent need for a national strategy to empower girls to pursue science subjects at the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education level. Performance in biology that had shown improvement in 2020 has again gone down. The board is optimistic that the review of the curriculum by the National Curriculum Development Center may solve this problem. Honourable Minister, we are grateful for your leadership, which gives clear guidance and necessary support to the board always. This enables the board to deliver on its mandate, even amidst challenges. I'd like to thank my colleagues on the board for their cooperation in providing the necessary policy guidance throughout the examination cycle. And I would like to request colleagues, board members who are present to stand up for recognition. In a special way, I thank the Executive Director and the staff of the Secretariat for the commitment and hard work that ensured that the 2022 cycle of examinations was successfully completed, even when the conditions were very difficult. Kindly join me to appreciate them. I congratulate the candidates who have performed well and wish them well in their future progress. I now ask the Executive Director to present the relief statement, which gives details of what I've just highlighted. Thereafter, I will present to you, Honourable Minister, the 2022 Uace results for official release. Thank you for your attention.
The Honourable Minister of State for Higher Education, representing the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson, Parliamentary Committee, Education and Sports, and the Member of Parliament present, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, the Chairperson, Uganda National Examinations Board, senior members of the Ministry of Education and Sports, and senior members of the Uganda National Examinations Board present, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister, the 2022 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education, UACE, examination was conducted between the 21st November and the 9th December 2022 under the theme Integrity and Security in the Management of Examinations. The health and safety of the learners is a joint responsibility. Honorable Minister, this theme has guided the board throughout the examination period since 2020. Total candidature. A total of 97,890 candidates registered for this examination from 1,969 centers, compared to 98,392 candidates from 1,952 centers in 2020. This is a decrease in candidature, as the chair has said, by 502 candidates, negative 0.5%. And the candidates who appeared for the examination were 96,557 compared to 97,443 in 2020, and this also is a decrease of about negative 0.9%. The number of candidates that registered under the Government Universal Education Program of UPLET was 17,321, or 17.7%, compared to 17,647, or 17.9% in 2020 examination. Of these, 40,713 were female candidates who registered, compared to 41,190 in 2020. Female candidates constituted a percentage of 41.8% of the total number of candidates who took the examination in 2022. Honorable Minister, while at the Uganda Certificate of Education, the proportion of females is very close to that of females, that is 49.7 against 50.3%, it is significantly lower at this level, where we are seeing 41.8 against 58.2. Honorable Minister, Table 1 gives the statistics of the number of candidates who registered and those that sat, and it can be seen from that table that the number of candidates registering for this examination has been fluctuating, but the trend has been seeing a decline after 2019. And the rate of absenteeism has also risen a little. A few districts, Honorable Minister, as will be seen from the district statistics that we shall issue, for example, Abim and Vuvuma districts that already have very low numbers of candidates registering for the Uace examination are also still posting very high levels of absenteeism. That is for 26.6 seen in Abim and 40.0 in Vuvuma. Honorable Minister, we also present a table 2 showing a summary of the special needs candidates by category and gender and the special considerations that the board makes. And these categories are the blind, the low vision, the deaf, those with severe physical impairments, the dyslexics, and other categories of disabilities. And in the next column, the kind of considerations that the board makes to enable these candidates to take the examination without a lot of problems. The total number this year, 2022, was 222 against 208. That is a slight increase over the 2020 examinations. Honorable Minister, allow me to report on the performance of the candidates. The performance of candidates in 2022 compared with the 2020 is shown in table number 3, and we are showing this in terms of candidates who are passing at the different principal levels. We have those that have obtained a principal pass in all the 3 principal subjects that they have taken, then those that are getting 2 principals, and those with 1 principal, and those that have got only subsidiaries, and those that did not get any pass level, whom we will say have failed. Honorable Minister, if you look at the cumulative percentage column under 2022, you will see that for 2022, the percentage of candidates scoring 3 principal passes is 43.5. If you look at the column for 2020, this percentage was 42.5, and this agrees with what the chairperson has said, that performance has improved. Similarly, those getting 2 principal passes, if you look at the same column, the percentage is 70.3 against 69.8, also a slight increase. So despite the fact that candidature dropped slightly in terms of percentages or proportions, we are seeing better performance in this particular year. Honorable Minister, the failure rate has more or less remained the same at 0.8%. So, Honorable Minister, the analysis of that table indicates that a very high percentage of 99.2% qualified for the award of the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education, just as was the case in 2020, although we had a slight decrease in candidature. A person qualifies for a Uace certificate when that person scores at least a subsidiary pass in a subject taken at the advanced level. At the minimum 2 principal level pass, Honorable Minister, this is so far what is considered for university admissions. We have a very high percentage of 70.3 qualifying compared to 69.8. In terms of numbers, this is slightly less than that of 2020, which was 68,013. But this is also consistent with the fact that we had a slight drop in candidature. In the cases where tertiary institutions are considering 1 principal and 2 subsidiary passes for admission, we have 89.3% of the candidates who will qualify. And this is quite comparable to the percentage of 2020. Honorable Minister, I will now compare the female and male candidates' performance again at the level of the principal passes. I will invite you to look at the column of a cumulative percentage. As the chairperson of the board said, the percentages of females at these different levels are higher. The proportion of females that got 3 principal passes stands at 48.6 compared to 40.1 for the males. Cumulatively, at 2 principal passes and above, you have 75.1% of the females compared to 67.0. So although the female candidature is a little lower, when you take the proportions of those who are getting these grades, you see that the performance is better than for the females. Honorable Minister, in Table 5, compare the performance of all the candidates in the large entry subjects and then the general paper. Again, I invite you, Honorable Minister, to look at the A to O percentage column, and we can see better performance in quite a number of subjects. In fact, if we concentrate on the A to E, that is where they have principal passes, we can see improvements in history, economics, entrepreneurship education, geography, and art. Mathematics and chemistry have recorded significant improvements at the A principal pass level, while physics had a drop at A but remained comparable when you look at the column of A to E level. Although there is a drop in the number of candidates registered this year, entries for mathematics and the science subjects, except for physics, increased quite significantly compared to the entries of 2020. This was also observed in the 2020 examination, where mathematics and the science entries had been higher than 2019 and before. Honorable Minister, I'm showing this in Table 6, where you can see 2022, 2020, 2019 up to 2017. When you look at it from right to left, the percentages for mathematics have been increasing, rather the numbers have been increasing from 22,863 in 2017 to now 38,776. Physics has been inconsistent. One year the number goes up and then drops the following year. The other 2 major subjects for science, chemistry, and biology have also shown that trend of improvement in numbers. As you heard from the chairperson's speech, performance in biology has again dropped below that of 2020, where it had risen. Examiners have attributed this to candidates showing a lot of problems in questions on genetics, ecology, and applications of biological concepts to the environment, classification, and the inability to handle very simple mathematical computations in biology. These, Honorable Minister, are the areas that are causing problems, and yet they are extremely important as far as biology and sciences are generally concerned. Issues of the environment, are extremely important. Table 7, Honorable Minister, compares the performance of males and females, again, in the large entry subjects. And this time I'm using the A to E level, that is, those that are getting at least a principal pass. In history, economics, and so on, including general paper. So again, Honorable Minister, in terms of percentages, the female candidates have performed better than their male counterparts at the principal level, A to E, in the arts, the humanities, mathematics, and physics. The male candidates' performance is better in agriculture, chemistry, biology, and general paper, and art. Female entries, Honorable Minister, for the sciences and mathematics have remained lower than that of the males. Again, consistent with the fact that female entry is lower for the males than for the males. Candidature was 26.9 for maths, physics is only 6.1, and so on and so forth. It should be noted that this percentage were lower, except physics, in the 2020 examination and before. In other words, Honorable Minister, female entries for mathematics and sciences, although still not very high, are gradually increasing, as can be seen in Table 8 below, Honorable Minister. So again, when you look at that table number 8, from right to left, we also see a trend increasing from 2017. For mathematics, this trend starts from 2018, where you have 8,270, increasing to 8,900, then to 10,000, almost 11,000, and then in 2020, close to 12,000. Physics is inconsistent, and again, we see the same trend in chemistry and biology. So what we are seeing here, Honorable Minister, is that although the numbers of females taking sciences are still low, we are happy to note that they are on the increase. Honorable Minister, allow me to report on candidates' performance, the kind of performance that we expect at the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education. As we have noted before, the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examination builds on the knowledge and skills that are assessed at the UCE. It is designed to test the candidate's ability to comprehend and apply knowledge in the new situations, to demonstrate logical reasoning skills, ability to perform scientific experiments, to interpret results and draw relevant conclusions from those experiments. And the questions are set to test the candidate's ability to handle higher order tasks such as descriptions, explanations, analysis, and evaluation, which are expected at this level. Honorable Minister, performance of candidates we report in terms of letter grades, as you have seen in the previous tables, and those candidates who have scored grades A and B in this examination demonstrated very high levels of knowledge of the subject matter and were able to handle the tasks required in the higher order skills. Their work in the practical examination papers also showed ability to correctly use the apparatus, record observations in a manner reflecting the accuracy level of the instruments that they have used, ability to use data generated correctly to either plot graphs or to use the values obtained to substitute in a given formula to determine required constants. Candidates who scored lower grades demonstrated adequate to basic mastery of the subject matter, Honorable Minister. Their performance was undermined by misunderstanding of questions, inability to describe, to explain, to interpret, and to offer logical arguments or illustrations of specific examples to qualify or to improve on their answers. Better answers were seen in parts of the questions that were more direct and requiring basically recall. Some of the candidates still rely on mnemonics in order to explain facts. Mnemonics are when somebody designs, either picks the first letter of key letters in some phrase, puts them together and writes them, and then each of those first letters would help them to remember, to recall something. So you find a number of these kind of things happening also at this level. Honorable Minister, we have continued to record zero scores in many papers. One of these candidates decided just to copy out questions several times. And we are wondering that after 2 years at this level, we will find candidates who cannot score even 1 mark in the subject which they took because that was their specialty, as it were. So one of these decided just to copy out questions several times, while another one wrote somewhere on page 2, I think, of the paper which I saw, "Dear Mr. Examiner, you are still wasting time on me when there are more serious candidates?" Question mark. Now, after that, this candidate wrote, "Now listen to my story." And then he wrote a short poem starting, Honorable Minister, with, "I am the stone that the builder refused," and continued like that. And then later on decided to write a list of famous musicians, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, and so on and so on, with the names of songs that they have sung. So, Honorable Minister, the question we're asking, apart from this candidate scoring a 0, could this performance indicate an underlying problem? In sciences, Honorable Minister, evidence of theoretical teaching, which we had reported during the UCE examination results, is still there, with little practical evidence, rather practical experience given to the candidates, and we observed this in a number of centers. As a result, those candidates who performed poorly showed inability to follow the basic instructions and procedures that they are expected to follow as they carry out the practical examination, failure to accurately record the data, or even make meaning of any of the data that they had recorded. They also had difficulty in writing in the language of chemistry, that is the use of correct symbols and formulae. In biology, the candidates did not carry out, some of these candidates did not carry out the dissection, which is a very essential task, a very essential skill in biology. So the specimens that were provided for them were left intact. But they had drawings in their scripts, meaning that they memorized drawings from textbooks and they reproduced this instead of doing exactly what the examination had required them to do. Honorable Minister, as the board has always done, a detailed analysis indicating the salient areas for improvement, as well as those areas that candidates have shown weaknesses, will be made and sent to examination centers in the document we call Report on the Work of Candidates. In this document, these issues are raised, and also teachers are advised on how they can handle this. Electronic versions will be sent to the schools through their portals, And members of the public who may be interested in purchasing these and other copies for previous examinations may do so from the UNEP Publications Sales Point Communications House in Kampala. Honorable Minister, report on malpractice and irregularities. We are pleased, Honorable Minister, that at this level, malpractice has remained quite low. The reported ones have mainly been some external assistance in maths, biology, and computer studies. And in accordance with Section 4, subsection 3 of the UNEP Act 2021, the board will withhold results of 113 candidates, and these will be accorded a hearing before a final verdict is passed. Honorable Minister, allow me to express our gratitude, first of all, to you. We shall continue to thank you again and again for ensuring that the board gets the necessary support, which was very crucial in successfully completing this and other activities that have culminated in our successful presentation of these results to you for release. I want to thank the chairperson, Professor Mary Okwakol, and members of the parliamentary committee, the chairman and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports for appropriating the funds that we needed, and the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for releasing the funds that we needed in a timely manner. I now sincerely thank the chairperson, Professor Mary Okwakol, and members of the board for their guidance, the staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports led by the Permanent Secretary, the agencies of the Ministry of Education and Sports, and other institutions that assisted the board in various ways during the conduct of the examination. I also want to thank all the area supervisors, the heads of examination centers, those persons who served as scouts and invigilators who were in the examination centers overseeing the exercise. They did this in accordance with the Ministry of Education and Sports guidelines and the standard operating procedures prescribed by the Ministry of Health, especially those who were in areas which were under the threat of Ebola. I equally extend, Honorable Minister, my appreciation to the Uganda Police, the UPDF, and other security agencies that assisted the board in ensuring that the examination was conducted smoothly throughout the country. I take this opportunity also, Honorable Minister, to thank the examiners who reported to mark the scripts. And I thank the institutions that allowed UNEP to use their premises as marking centers. The parents and the guardians for their tireless support to the candidates, members of the press who actively highlighted and publicized UNEP activities throughout the examination period. There were many members of the public who accorded us valuable intelligence and support during the field conduct of the examination. I thank them. To the candidates who performed well, I join my chairperson in congratulating them, and I also want to encourage those whose performance fell below satisfactory competency levels to try again. I believe in the God of second chance. There is always a second chance to try. I wish, especially, Honorable Minister, to acknowledge the dedication to duty exhibited by the staff of the Uganda National Examinations Board Secretariat in the face of health challenges that our country has faced over the last 3 years. Honorable Minister, their commitment and sacrifice has enabled the board to successfully conduct and process the results of this examination, as they have done for the other two examinations, PLE and UCE, that you have already released. To them, Honorable Minister, I want to dedicate this day when we release the third and last examination. That is our mandate to conduct. Honorable Minister, give guidance to those who may wish to access the results and then the collection of results materials. We are going to upload the results, Honorable Minister, on the school portals as soon as you release them. Hard copies will be available in the course of next week, and centers will be informed. I want to state here, Honorable Minister, that a number of heads of centers have not been keen on cross-checking the results of their candidates and sending queries or amendments in time. Quite often, the candidates themselves realize that there was something that they wanted to query when it is too late. So I would like to advise heads of centers to study their result lists as soon as they get them, and then if there are any queries, to personally submit these through their portals electronically, not later than 15 working days after the release of the results. Interested persons who may wish to access these results after you have released them, Honorable Minister, may use the SMS. And we advise, as we have done, that they go to the message menu, they type the UACE, they leave a space, and type in the correct index number of the candidate, and then send to 6600 on MTN and Airtel networks. Quite a number of people begin to call us. They are not able to get the results because they have entered the wrong index numbers. Please enter UACE, leave space, put in the correct number, U something, 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 stroke, then the personal number, and then you send to 6600. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present this report, and I hereby submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Odom. I would like to take this opportunity to request the chairperson to hand over the results to the Honorable Minister, together with Mr. Odom. May I kindly request that the Honorable Minister, the chairperson, the Executive Secretary come and use this background over here so that they have an appropriate photo moment. May I kindly request the PS to kindly come and join. Once again, I would like to thank UNEB for this exercise successfully carried out. Thank you. May I take this opportunity before calling upon the Permanent Secretary, who is going to give her brief remarks, and thereafter request her to invite the Honourable Minister. I'll take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Mr. John Twesige, the Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee, Education Committee. You're very welcome. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Honourable Lokwang Phillips Iruko, the Member of Parliament, Naporo West Constituency, and Member of the Sectoral Committee of Education and Sports. You're very welcome. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome Hajat Safina Musene, the Commissioner of Health Education and Training. You are very welcome. May I take this opportunity now to invite the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Sports. May you please welcome the Permanent Secretary as she comes to give her remarks, and thereafter I request that you invite the Honourable Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. The Honourable Minister for Education and Sports, the Chairperson, Parliamentary Committee of Education and Sports, Members of Parliament present, the Chairperson, the UNEB Board, the Executive Director, UNEB, staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, the media fraternity present here, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity and add my voice to the previous speakers to congratulate you, the entire team of UNEB, for successfully and timely executing this exam cycle for Senior 6. And I would like to really affirm that this is a task that requires a lot of effort, a lot of wisdom, a lot of time, and a lot of resilience. And I therefore want to thank you so much, Executive Director for UNEB, for this great task that you've been undertaking since the year started. I would like to also thank the various stakeholders who have worked together with the UNEB to ensure that we conclude this entire cycle of the senior exams very well. And I would also like to congratulate our candidates, the Senior 6 candidates who have just, whose exams have just been released. And I also want to wish them the very, very best for their future. I do not have much to say. I've been really invited to invite our very Honourable Minister for Education. I want to thank you, Honourable Minister, for your continuous support to UNEB that no one can dispute. I also want to thank you for availing time amidst your very, very busy schedule to come and really perform this very, very important task. I would therefore not waste time, and really without further ado, request you, Honourable Minister for Education, to come and release or to speak to us after releasing Year 6 exams. You're welcome, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary. My colleagues, the honorable members of Parliament attending this function, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, and your technical team, the Chairperson of UNEB and members of UNEB here present, the Executive Director, UNEB, and the staff of UNEB, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I bring very warm and prayerful greetings from the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports. And I'm very delighted that today we are releasing the results of the 2022 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examination. This is the third and final set of the end of cycle examinations that UNEB administers under its mandate. It is yet another occasion to celebrate and thank God for His faithfulness, because with today's release, we celebrate 1,258,209 of our young people who are completed primary 7, senior 4, and senior 6 levels of education. Although it appears that the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic and Ebola were not as severe as during the previous examination, we know that it was by the mercies of God that no fatalities were recorded during the delivery of all our examinations. It was also due to the dedication of UNEB and all other agencies and persons that God used to ensure the smooth conduct of these examinations. I have noted the drop in candidature yet again. The figure may be less than the over 5,000 registered in 2020 examination, but it continues to be a cause for worry. I'm glad to hear that Makerere University took this matter up to investigate the causes. I, and indeed the ministry and the nation, eagerly awaits the report and recommendations, and any recommendations that have been made. The reports given by the chairperson of UNEP and the executive director indicate that entries for sciences and mathematics have gone up, apart from the subject of physics. It is important that as a country, we have more learners taking up sciences. Whereas other subjects are important for the development of morals and other aspects of life, industrial development, which is the foundation of economic growth, depends a lot on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects. On that note, I'm glad to observe the increase in quality pass levels at Principal Pass A in mathematics and chemistry. The gradual increase in sciences and mathematics entries, especially among the girls, is also a positive development which we need to maintain and continue improving. I also wish to applaud the girls who proportionately have shown better performance than their male counterparts. This indicates that girls are just as capable as boys are. What needs to be done is to identify and work on those factors that have tended to hold the girls back and reduce their numbers at this level. You may recall that during the recent Makerere University graduation, the girls registered big numbers than their counterparts. And of course, this confirms or affirms our belief in their equal abilities. I wish to emphasize to our teachers the importance of guiding our young learners. When a student scores no mark or 0 at this level, there are many questions that cross our minds. One of them, what does this mean to us as teachers? Is it us, the teachers, who failed this candidate, or somebody else? There are many questions to be asked. when the executive director was talking about the many zeros recorded, I think as Uganda we should all get concerned. I note the constant problem of biology. While the National Curriculum Development Center looks at the curriculum, I wish to encourage teachers to look into those areas that have been mentioned even before today. There's been almost whenever we come here. Why do candidates score poorly in these topics, in these subjects that are so important? Could it be that there are deficiencies in the teachers themselves? Could the problem be with the teachers? Could it be the food they eat? I ask that the systematic in-service training for biology teachers should focus on addressing this matter. I want to congratulate all those who have performed very well in these examinations. While the attraction of university education appears to remain strong, I wish to appeal to our younger people to consider taking advantage of the opportunities, many opportunities available in other tertiary institutions outside the universities. Based on the overall performance we just saw, many of you have qualified to join other post-secondary institutions, such as technical colleges, health training institutions, to pursue diverse career paths. Please get interested or interest yourselves in what is offered in our technical and vocational centers. I've had an opportunity to attend graduations in these technical institutions. People go to graduate while driving, and somebody has told me that this is where money comes from. So I want you to get interested in joining those technical institutes, technical colleges, nurse training institutions, name it. Allow me to commend Uganda National Examination Board for completing the cycle of examination for 2022, and thank you for enabling the successful placement of students to S1 and S5. On this note, I call upon the heads of schools to take interest in unacceptable behavior of some students who still practice bullying in our schools. The incident that took place at Chamate SS was very unfortunate, and it must never be allowed to reoccur again anywhere in our schools. Schools must be safe places for our children, and the head teacher must ensure that career guidance and counseling is strongly implemented in the schools. Learners must be supported to learn, to live together with one another, must be helped to appreciate that they need to respect each and every one, but not hurt each other. Colleagues, absenteeism continues to be among the biggest challenge faced by the education sector. The outlook of the results we are releasing today could have been much better if all our teachers were rendering the services expected of them within the approved and allocated time frame. Several studies continue tagging our poor performance to this vice, that is absenteeism. It is time for us to train in this damaging practice. I call upon our head teachers and Ministry of Education officials to carry out strict supervision and apprehension of the culpable staff. We must crack down this habit and ensure that our learners get the education that we need to move our country forward. Once again, I congratulate the candidates who have successfully completed their secondary school education. To those who did not achieve as expected, I encourage you not to give up. As Mr. Odongo said, there is another chance. Grab that chance. Please explore other paths that are available in our education system. If you keep yourself safe, healthy, you still have time ahead of you to explore many other opportunities. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to release the results for the 2022 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education to the public. Thank you very much, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. The next items that are going to follow as follows. We are going to have a question and answer session for the press, and thereafter a photo session. So I request that we don't leave. So I would like the press to note that the session for asking questions is going to take place from this very hall, and thereafter we shall have a photo session after the press conference. So as we end, I would like to also take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Patrick Mwinda. I'm the Assistant Commissioner in charge of Communication and Information Management. Thank you so much for coming for this function. May we now stand for the anthems. Thank you so much. You may take your seats. May I now invite the members of the press to prepare to come and take their questions. We'll have the English session first, and then we'll have the Luganda version thereafter. And then I'll also request that the members of press introduce themselves and the media house as they ask their question. I have a remote microphone here. Nina, please come and hand it over. So members of the press, this is your time. You're welcome. Thank you.
Silence means you have no questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you.